Okay, so let's try to do this in less than 3 minutes. This is a review of the first 3 comma rules that we've already done. So let me do this quickly. Rule number 1 says when you have an independent clause on one side and of a conjunction, and then you put an independent clause on the other side of that conjunction, you have to have a comma. You can't just have the conjunction by itself. So here's an example. Someone in school got sick, comma, so. You can't just have so, and you can't just have comma. You have to have comma conjunction. Comma, so, we will work from home for a while. One sentence on this side, one sentence on this side. You have to have both of those pieces. Mrs. Phillips didn't really understand Neo, comma, but she learned fast. Those are both independent clauses, so they have to have both the comma and the conjunction. I do not mind working from home, comma, and I hope that student gets better soon. So again, we have independent clause, joined to independent clause, and they have to be joined with comma conjunction. An independent clause, remember, is just a complete sentence. Rule number 2. This had 3 parts, but they made it one rule. When you have words or phrases or sentences in a list, I should have put all 3 there, but anyway, you have things in a list, use commas to replace the word and or the word or. I am going to sleep late, comma, make breakfast, comma, and then begin to work. And remember, we didn't really replace the and with that last one. We have that weird Oxford comma, but it's okay. Comma and is just fine. But anyway, I'm separating 3 things. You also have to have a comma between adjectives that 2 adjectives that are describing one noun when and is appropriate between the adjectives. So, can I put an and between the words patient and relaxed teacher? The patient and relaxed teacher helped me understand calculus. Yes, and works there, so a comma works there. And the last part of rule 2 is to avoid a misreading, or sometimes I say don't eat your grandfather. While eating, comma, my grandfather always talks to us. Okay, so that's rules 1 and 2. And then we did rule 3 on Thursday, and this was non-essential elements. We talked about how that was like a jacket. You don't need it, but it's helpful. When you have something non-essential in a sentence, and there are 5 of those non-essential elements. Non-essential elements get commas, because remember, the commas mean you can grab that element and take it out. There are non-essential appositives. You don't have to know what an appositive means to understand this rule. Stonewall Jackson was a brilliant tactician. I want to give you that piece of information about Stonewall Jackson, but I'm also going to jam in this piece of information because it's good writing. I also want to tell you he was a general in the Confederate Army, but I don't need it for you to understand that he was a brilliant tactician. So, Stonewall Jackson, comma, a general in the Confederate Army, comma, was a brilliant tactician. I can take that whole thing out and the sentence makes sense. There can also be non-essential phrases and clauses. The wind, comma, howling loudly, blew the snow into drifts. I do not need this. It's just good writing. And if you're going to use it, you need to punctuate it correctly. It has to be set off by commas. The yes, no, well, and why are all non-essential elements. I don't need them in the sentence, but it gives emphasis, and it's good to write like that. Yes, comma, I would like to go out, but again, yes can be taken out, and I need to use a comma if I'm going to keep it in. If you use direct address, meaning I'm talking to someone, in this sense I'm talking to Coach Morgan, are we going to be home all week, Coach Morgan? I don't really need that. That's non-essential, but it's okay to have, but you need to punctuate it correctly with a comma. And the final final non-essential element is a parenthetical expression, and those are like, however, of course, for example, on the other hand, nevertheless, on the contrary, in my opinion. These are just kind of thrown in words. They're like transition words. I really just want to tell you that we have taken good precautions at school, but I'm going to emphasize it by saying it's in my opinion, and when I use this parenthetical element, I have to use a comma because it is non-essential. That is 5 minutes a review. So if you didn't understand anything we did last week, there you go. I'm going to make a YouTube finishing commas.